If you've ever felt the urge to tell everyone your big plans before you've even started, you're not alone. But what if sharing your goals too soon actually holds you back? Have you noticed how excitement can turn into pressure, or how the opinions of others distract you from doing the real work? Imagine if instead of announcing your dreams, you quietly built them step by step, without needing anyone's approval or attention. This isn't about hiding your success. It's about protecting your energy and focus so you can grow stronger, faster, and more sure of yourself. In this video, I'm going to show you why working in silence is one of the smartest moves you can make, and how letting your results speak for themselves will change everything. Stick with me, because what you're about to learn could transform how you grow and succeed forever. Are you ready to discover the power of silence? Let's get into it. Number 1, protect your energy by keeping your plans private. You've been telling too many people what you're going to do. That's one of the reasons why you're stuck. You keep announcing it, you keep talking about it, you keep explaining it, and with every word, you lose just a little more of your energy. With every conversation, your fire gets a little dimmer. You think you're motivating yourself by saying it out loud, but what you're doing is giving away your strength before you've even begun. There's something powerful about keeping your plans to yourself, not because you're hiding, not because you're afraid, but because you're serious. When you're serious, you protect your energy. When you're serious, you don't waste time trying to convince anyone. You prove it at work. You show it through results. When you stop announcing and start doing, everything changes. See, your energy is limited. You only get so much every day. And every time you explain yourself to someone who doesn't really understand you, who doesn't care, who's going to forget it anyway, what you're doing is draining your own tank. You don't owe anybody an explanation for where you're headed. You owe it to yourself to get there. Think about this. How many times have you shared your goals, and instead of getting support, you got judgment? Instead of encouragement, you got silence. Or worse, doubt. And for some reason, you let that get into your mind. You let their disbelief affect your direction. You took on their fear. You started shrinking your dream to fit their comfort zone. That's the danger of talking too much about where you're going. You don't need their permission. You don't need their applause. You don't need their approval. What you need is focus. You need discipline. You need time alone in the dark, away from the noise, away from opinions, where you can build without distractions. Because every minute you spend proving yourself to people who don't even understand the road you're on is a minute stolen from the mission itself. You can't protect your energy if you keep putting it on display. Every time you speak about your plans, you open the door to doubt, to interference, to delay. You open the door to people giving advice they don't live by. You open the door to their projections, their fears, and their stories. You open the door to questions you don't need to answer, to debates you don't need to be in, to conversations that waste your time and kill your focus. And for what? Just to feel a moment of validation. That moment is not worth the cost. Because when you talk about it, you feel like you've done something. You get the illusion of progress. You feel productive just by saying it out loud, but nothing's happened yet. You've only created the illusion of action. But illusions don't change lives. Work does. Quiet work. Consistent work. Daily work. The kind of work no one sees until it's too late to stop you. When you keep your plans private, you're choosing strength. You're choosing clarity. You're choosing peace. You're not hiding. You're building. There's a difference. Building in silence is not weakness. It's wisdom. It's discipline. It's maturity. It's knowing that every word you don't speak becomes a step forward. Every explanation you avoid is one more brick laid down in your foundation. There is power in privacy. Because when no one knows, no one interrupts. When no one knows, no one gets in the way. When no one knows, no one offers their opinion. And that silence, that space, that's where you grow. That's where you become strong. That's where you get real with yourself. You don't need an audience while you're becoming. You need discipline. You need routine. You need a tunnel, not a spotlight. Some of the strongest people I've ever met were the quiet ones. They didn't talk about their goals. They didn't post every step. They just worked. They stayed focused. And one day they walked into the room and changed the game. Not because they talked about it, because they built it. Silently, steadily, on their own terms. People will try to distract you. They'll want to know what you're doing. They'll ask questions. They'll give advice you didn't ask for. They'll try to be realistic with you. Don't fall for it. Protect your energy by saying less. Do more. Let your actions be louder than any sentence you could ever speak. That's how you protect your vision. That's how you build momentum. That's how you win. Because when you work in silence, there's no pressure to perform. There's no spotlight to live under. You're not trying to impress anyone. You're not comparing yourself. You're just doing the work. You're growing in peace. You're improving without needing applause. And that kind of growth, it's deep. It's real. It sticks. People can't attack what they don't know. They can't discourage what they haven't seen. They can't interfere with what you haven't shared. And maybe that's the point. Maybe the reason you're not moving forward is because you've opened the door to too many opinions, too many voices, too many distractions. And now it's time to shut that door. It's time to reclaim your energy. It's time to focus. So stop updating everyone about your next step. Stop trying to impress people who aren't even walking in your direction. Stop draining your own energy by talking too much. Make a promise to yourself right now, one that you'll keep in your own heart, that from this moment on you will work in silence, that you will protect your plans, that you will build your life from the inside out. That doesn't mean you don't dream big. That doesn't mean you don't have goals. It means you're choosing to honor them by doing the work instead of just talking about them. It means you're choosing power over performance. It means you're choosing growth over validation. And here's the truth. If you keep your plans private long enough, they become real. If you keep doing the work without distraction, without performance, without needing to explain it to the world, then one day you'll wake up and the results will be so strong that people won't even need to ask what you've been doing. They'll see it, they'll feel it, they'll know. And by then you won't even care about the recognition, because you'll be living it. You'll be in it. You'll be strong enough to know that real progress doesn't need an announcement. It just needs your commitment. So don't announce it. Don't explain it. Don't argue for it. Just live it. Build it. Become it. Quietly. Powerfully. Every day. Keep your plans private. Protect your energy. And do the work in silence. That's how you win in real life. That's how you build a life that means something. That's how you go from talking to achieving. From hoping to becoming. That's how you transform. You don't need noise. You need focus. You don't need likes. You need discipline. You don't need attention. You need hunger. Work in silence. Build in silence. And when the results speak, they'll speak loud enough for everyone. Until then, stay quiet. Stay locked in. Stay strong. And remember this, you owe yourself the life you said you wanted. So protect your energy like it's gold, because it is. Keep your plans to yourself and use that energy to make them happen. Number 2, build your future quietly without seeking approval. You don't need anyone to agree with your dream for it to be real. If you're waiting for people to support your vision before you move, you'll be stuck for the rest of your life. Some people will never believe in what you're building until it's done. And even then, they'll act like they knew all along. But that's not your concern. Your concern is building your future quietly, without asking for anyone's approval. Not because you're trying to prove something, but because you've finally decided to trust yourself. Every time you go looking for validation, you put your future in someone else's hands. You give them the power to shape your direction. You let their doubts become your doubts. You let their fears start clouding your mind. That's how people lose momentum. That's how dreams get smaller. That's how good ideas die before they even get a chance to grow. And I know what you're thinking, but what if I need support? What if I want encouragement? That's human. We all want to feel seen. We all want someone to say, that's a great idea. Go for it. But here's the truth. Most people won't say to you, sometimes no one's going to say it. Sometimes you're not going to get a single ounce of encouragement. And if that breaks you, you're not ready to build anything real. When you really believe in something, you move, whether they clap for you or not. You start anyway. You keep going anyway. You stay focused even when no one gets it. You work in silence. You stay quiet. You get serious. And you stop trying to be understood by people who don't have the same hunger you do. Too many people are addicted to applause. They won't even start unless someone's watching. They won't keep going unless someone praises them. They can't commit unless someone else agrees. That's why they stay stuck. because they're trying to build a future that pleases everyone else. But your future isn't supposed to please people. It's supposed to free you. You don't need permission to grow. You don't need approval to evolve. You don't need likes to become successful. What you need is privacy, focus, discipline, grit, a tunnel vision that blocks out every distraction, every doubt, every unnecessary voice. The world will try to pull you in every direction, but you have to choose your direction before the world chooses it for you. Your future is not a public debate. It's a private decision. It's built in the quiet mornings when no one is watching. It's shaped in the late nights when everyone else is asleep. It's protected by the silence you choose. It's strengthened by the work you do when there's no audience. And that kind of growth, that kind of internal commitment, that can't be bought. It has to be earned, alone, step by step, day by day. There's something powerful about not telling people what you're building. It keeps you honest. It forces you to rely on yourself. It makes you get clear about what you want, not what other people think you should want. When you stop seeking approval, you start creating from your core. You stop shaping your life to impress others, and you start shaping it to fit your soul. Most people don't even know what they want because they're too busy performing. They're too focused on being accepted. They spend so much time thinking about what other people think of them that they lose sight of who they are. And you can't build your future from a place of confusion. You need clarity. You need direction. And that comes when you finally decide to stop explaining yourself and start working. Nobody has to understand your journey. It's yours. Nobody needs to agree with your plan. It's not theirs. People can doubt you. They can ignore you. They can talk behind your back, but they can't stop you unless you give them your energy, unless you give them your attention, unless you let their opinion matter more than your mission. And here's the part people don't want to hear. Approval is not always honest. Sometimes the people who support you are only doing it because they don't think you'll succeed. It's a polite smile. It's a soft good luck that they forget the second you walk away. That's why you can't build your confidence on praise. You build it on progress. You build it on real effort. You build it by showing up for yourself over and over again, no matter what anyone else thinks. Some of you are stuck because you're still explaining yourself to people who gave up on their own goals years ago. You're still asking for advice from people who never had the courage to try. You're still hoping for encouragement from people who gave up on themselves a long time ago. And you're wondering why you're not moving forward. You can't build your life around broken opinions. You can't build your future inside someone else's comfort zone. The people who truly win in life are the ones who learn to validate themselves. They don't need the world to believe in them. They believe in themselves. They build their life from within, and they don't go shouting about it. They don't try to convince everyone. They just show up every single day, and they keep going until what they're building becomes undeniable. You will not get to where you're trying to go by waiting for others to agree. You will not reach your potential by collecting compliments. You will not rise by asking for permission. You rise by deciding. You rise by committing. You rise by putting in the work when no one is clapping. That's what separates winners from wishers. And I'll tell you something else. The more you build in silence, the more dangerous you become. Not in a harmful way, in a focused way. In a way that says, I don't need to be seen to succeed. In a way that shows strength without speaking. In a way that no one can shake because you didn't build it for them. You built it for you. So stop explaining. Stop updating. Stop trying to be understood by people who are not going where you're going. Most people can't see past their own limitations. They can only see what they've lived. And if they've never built anything real, they won't understand what you're trying to do. And that's okay. It's not your job to make them understand. It's your job to keep going. Build your future quietly. Let them talk. Let them guess. Let them underestimate. It doesn't matter. The only thing that matters is whether or not you show up, whether or not you stay committed, whether or not you follow through. That's how you win. Not through noise, through consistency. This isn't about being secretive. It's about being selective. It's about protecting what matters. It's about staying focused long enough to finish something. And that takes discipline. That takes strength. That takes letting go of your need to be seen. The truth is, the need for approval is a weakness. It gives other people control over your direction. And every time you chase their acceptance, you move a little further away from your own path. You stop listening to yourself. You stop trusting yourself. And that's when your future slips away. Don't let that happen. Reclaim your attention. Reclaim your direction. Build in silence. Grow quietly. Show up for yourself. Not for applause. Not for likes. Not for attention. For yourself. For your future. For your peace. For the life you said you wanted. You are the only one who can make it real. No one's going to hand it to you. No one's going to push you up the mountain. You've got to climb. You've got to grind. You've got to stay focused. And you've got to keep going. Even when nobody claps. Even when nobody sees. Even when nobody believes. Because that's what it means to be truly committed. Your future belongs to you. So stop asking for directions from people who've never been there. Stop giving your energy to conversations that don't serve your growth. Stop waiting for the green light. You are the green light. You are the one who decides. You are the one who builds. You are the one who finishes. So build your future quietly. Don't worry about who's watching. Don't worry about who approves. Keep going. Stay committed. Stay disciplined. Keep building in silence. And when your future is ready, it'll speak for itself. And when that day comes, you'll look back and be glad you stayed quiet. You'll be glad you didn't explain yourself. You'll be glad you didn't wait for anyone, because you didn't need approval. You needed belief, and you had it in yourself all along. Number 3, work on yourself without telling anyone your goals. There is no greater power than silently becoming the person you were meant to be while no one is watching. No announcements, no explanations, just quiet work, focused growth, and a decision to evolve for yourself, not for attention, not for applause, but because you refuse to stay the same. That kind of transformation doesn't require an audience. It requires heart. It requires discipline. And most of all, it requires silence. You don't need to post your goals. You don't need to explain your vision. You don't need to broadcast every step. In fact, the more you keep to yourself, the more powerful you become. Because when you stop talking about who you're going to be and you start working on becoming that person, everything changes. You shift from wishful thinking to focused action. You move from trying to impress others to impressing yourself. There's something sacred about working on yourself in private. No pressure to perform. No fear of judgment. Just honest effort. Real growth. You wake up each day with the intention to be better than you were yesterday. And that becomes your mission. That becomes your fuel. You train your mind. You rebuild your habits. You elevate your thinking. You upgrade your standards. Not because someone told you to, but because you got tired of living below your potential. Most people are too busy trying to be seen changing. Instead of actually changing, they talk about what they're going to do. They list their goals. They share their plans. But very few follow through. Very few disappear long enough to reinvent themselves. Because silence is uncomfortable. Privacy is hard. There's no praise in the dark. There's no instant gratification. It's just you, your effort, and the long road ahead. But that's where the real growth happens. You grow in the days no one sees. You grow in the hours when it would be easier to quit. You grow in the moments when no one is cheering you on. That's when you start becoming unshakable. That's when your character is built. That's when your confidence is earned. Not from words, but from action. Quiet, consistent, relentless action. You don't need anyone to validate your journey. You don't need someone to tell you that you're doing a good job. If you're serious about growth, you have to get used to not being seen. You have to fall in love with the silence. You have to commit to the work, even when there's no audience. That's where discipline is born. That's where true transformation begins. Don't get caught up in the culture of announcements. Don't waste time explaining your goals to people who won't understand them. Your goals are not public property. They're personal. They're a contract between you and your future self. And every time you talk instead of act, you weaken that contract. You lose energy. You give away your fire. Keep that fire inside. Let it build. Let it drive you. Let it turn into something unstoppable. When you work on yourself without telling anyone, you start to see what you're really made of. You find out how strong your commitment is. You learn how to keep promises to yourself. And that's what builds trust. That's what creates results. Because if you can stay loyal to your goals in silence, imagine what you can do when no one's limiting you. Imagine what happens when the only voice you listen to is the one that believes in you. The world doesn't need to know your goals. The world needs to see your growth. And that only happens when you stop broadcasting and start building. When you show up quietly day after day. When you stop explaining and start executing. When you let your progress speak louder than your words ever could. If you tell everyone your goals, you get a false sense of accomplishment. You feel like you've already done something just by saying it, but you haven't. Talking is easy. Doing is hard. Silence keeps you grounded. It reminds you that success isn't in the announcement. It's in the effort. It's in the hours no one sees. It's in the discipline that doesn't make headlines. There's a reason the strongest people are often the quietest. They don't need to talk about what they're doing. They just do it. They don't explain their dreams. They chase them. They don't need others to understand. They understand themselves. That kind of strength is rare. That kind of focus is powerful. That kind of discipline will take you further than any approval ever could. Work on your body without talking about your diet. Work on your mind without posting your books. Work on your soul without explaining your healing. Work on your skills without announcing every new lesson. Improve quietly. Grow privately. Show yourself that you can do it without needing to prove it to anyone else. People will start noticing. They'll start wondering. Something's different. They seem more confident. They're sharper. They've changed, but they won't know how. They won't know what you've been doing. And that's the power of silence. That's the power of staying hidden while you work. You give no warning. You give no clues. And then one day you show up as someone new, someone stronger, someone sharper, someone unstoppable. When you stop sharing your goals, you stop wasting time. You stop getting sidetracked. You stop seeking feedback from people who don't know your vision. And you start building with intention. You start growing with focus. You start aligning your life with who you want to become. There's a whole different level of power in silent growth. No distractions. No performance. Just real change. Real effort. Real discipline. You go to bed proud because you know you moved forward today. You know you stayed true to your mission. And you don't need a single like, comment, or applause to validate it. The truth is, nobody needs to know your plan to witness your progress. And if they don't see it now, that's okay. They'll see it when it's time, when you've built the results, when you've become undeniable. Until then, protect your process, guard your goals, and honor your growth by keeping it private. You're not missing out by staying quiet. You're gaining power. You're building momentum. You're creating a foundation that can't be shaken. And when your time comes, when the results are ready, you'll walk into the room with confidence. Not because you talked about it, but because you lived it. So stop trying to impress people with potential. Stop trying to convince anyone that you're on your way. Just go. Just grow. Just build. And when the time is right, your transformation will say everything that needs to be said. Work on yourself in silence. Not because you're hiding, but because you're focused. Not because you're afraid, but because you're committed. Not because you're unsure, but because you're building something real, and real things take time. And when you rise, they'll ask how you did it. They'll ask when it happened. They'll wonder where it all came from. And you'll smile, because they never saw the work. They never saw the early mornings, the long nights, the quiet battles. They only saw the result. But you'll know the truth. You earned it, alone, in silence. And that makes it real. So here's your challenge. Start today, not with an announcement, not with a post, but with action. Wake up tomorrow and move forward. Quietly, focused, relentless. Because when you work on yourself without telling anyone your goals, the only thing that can stop you is you, and you're done being the one who gets in your way. Now go, build, grow, transform, and let the world find out when it's already done. Number 4, focus fully by staying silent about your dreams. You don't need to tell the world what you're dreaming of. You just need to be obsessed enough to chase it in silence until it becomes your reality. Most people waste their energy explaining why they haven't made it yet, explaining what they're going to do next, explaining their dreams to people who don't even have the capacity to believe in their own. But your dream is not a debate. It's not a post. It's not a conversation starter. It's a fire. And fires grow stronger when they're protected from the wind. Not when they're exposed to every breeze of opinion, doubt, or comparison. You want to get focused? Stay quiet. You want to get locked in? Stop talking. Stop announcing. Stop trying to be understood. Because the more you explain your dream, the more fragile it becomes. The more you speak it out loud, the more open it is to noise, feedback, jealousy, doubt, and distraction. And dreams don't survive in noise. They survive in solitude. They survive in deep focus. They survive in the moments no one sees, where it's just you, your vision, and your grind. Most people don't stay silent because they're afraid. They talk because they're insecure. They want reassurance. They want someone to tell them they're on the right path. They want to be validated. But dreams don't need validation. They need discipline. They need a level of focus that shuts out everything that doesn't contribute to their execution. When you stop telling people your plans, your vision sharpens, your attention increases. You stop worrying about whether people believe in you and you start building something that doesn't need belief, just results. You become ruthless with your time. You stop chasing approval and start chasing progress. You remove every unnecessary voice and replace it with action, practice, repetition, and relentless improvement. You become dangerous when you decide to stay quiet and focus. Because now your energy isn't leaking out of your mouth. It's being channeled into your work, into your habits, into your days, into your goals. That's when your mindset shifts. That's when your distractions start dying. That's when you stop hoping and start creating. Silence forces you to take full responsibility. You don't get the luxury of blaming other people's opinions when you never invited them into your journey. You don't get to hide behind talk. All that's left is action, execution, the truth of your effort. If you can stay silent about your dreams and still work on them like your life depends on it, you're already ahead of 99% of people. Because most people are addicted to the feeling of being seen trying. They don't want to be successful. They want to be perceived as someone who is going to be successful. There's a difference. One is real. One is performance. You can't do both. You can't be obsessed with focus and also be addicted to attention. You have to choose. Either your dream is worth protecting, or it's not. Either it's sacred to you, or it's not. Either you want it bad enough to keep it quiet and work in solitude, or you want the illusion more than the outcome. Choose wisely, because what you expose early often dies early. But what you build in silence becomes unbreakable. There's a reason the most powerful people in the world move in silence. It's not because they're hiding. It's because they're building. They understand the power of focus. They understand the weight of vision. And they understand that if you give your dream too much air before it's ready, it suffocates. You don't need to explain your dreams to people who've never had the courage to pursue their own. You don't need to tell small minds your big plans. They won't get it. And they're not supposed to. Your dream is yours. It was given to you, not them. So protect it, build it, focus on it, like it's your oxygen, and starve every distraction that threatens it. Staying silent is not weakness. It's power. It's composure. It's emotional intelligence. It's the ability to delay the dopamine of praise for the satisfaction of achievement. That's how you win long term. You stop needing to be seen making progress and start needing to actually make progress. Every time you think about telling someone your dream, ask yourself, does this conversation bring me closer to it, or does it take energy away from it? Most of the time, it takes energy. It gives you the illusion of progress without the substance. But real growth, that happens in the silence, in the early mornings, in the late nights, in the uncomfortable, lonely hours that no one claps for. You don't owe anyone a preview. You owe yourself the finished product. You owe yourself the transformation. You owe yourself the result of staying locked in while everyone else was busy talking. You don't need a motivational speech. You need silence. You need a space where your thoughts are louder than the world's noise. A space where you can hear your own drive, your own hunger, your own frustration with staying the same. That's where dreams take shape. Not in crowds, not in announcements, but in the quiet. Focus is not a mood. It's a decision. A decision to be unavailable to anything that doesn't align with your purpose. A decision to disconnect from meaningless conversations empty validations, and shallow approval. A decision to build something real, even if no one sees it coming. The most dangerous person in the room is the one you never saw coming. The one who didn't say a word. The one who just worked, who kept showing up, who sacrificed comfort, distractions, and recognition to stay laser focused. That person isn't seeking attention. They're seeking transformation. And when they arrive, they don't need to explain how they got there. Their presence is the explanation. So stop talking about what you're going to do. Stop convincing people to believe in your dream. You don't need to be understood. You need to be consistent. You need to be locked in. You need to be so focused on your next step that you don't even have time to speak about it. And one day when you show up as the person you've been building in silence, the world won't need a story. They'll see it in your results. They'll feel it in your energy. They'll know it in your presence. But until then, stay quiet, stay disciplined, stay committed to the process. Don't post about it. Don't explain it. Don't seek permission or support. Just do the work. Just sharpen the blade. Just outgrow your old self every single day. You weren't born to convince others. You were born to become something greater than they ever imagined. And the fastest way to do that is to get focused and stay silent. The dream is not in danger. The distraction is. Silence gives you clarity. Focus gives you speed. And discipline gives you freedom. Don't trade that for likes, for comments, for attention. Stay low. Stay locked in. And when it's time, the world won't need you to speak. They'll hear your name through your results. You've been talking long enough. Now it's time to build. Quietly. Relentlessly. Without distraction. Without noise. Just you, your vision. And the grind that no one else is willing to endure. Now go create. Go sacrifice. Go isolate. Go evolve. And when it's done, when the dream is no longer a vision, but a reality, then and only then, let them see what silence really built. Number 5. Achieve results before you speak about your vision. Let your results make the noise. Because the world listens differently when proof walks into the room. We live in a time where everyone's talking. Everyone has a vision. Everyone has a dream. But very few have the discipline to keep quiet until that dream becomes undeniable. The loudest voices are often the most empty. The people constantly talking about what they're about to do are usually the same ones who never follow through. That's why you must take a different path. A path built not on hype, but on hard work. A path where results speak so loudly that you don't even need to open your mouth. You don't need to announce your vision. You need to prove it. You need to build it when no one's watching. You need to rise early and stay late and sacrifice comfort so that what you're building becomes too real to ignore. Don't chase recognition before you've earned it. Don't look for applause before there's anything to clap for. Because when you speak too early, your words become promises you're not ready to fulfill. But when you move in silence, every step forward is backed by action. Every win is the result of something deeper. A commitment no one saw, a discipline no one clapped for. If you want to build something meaningful, keep your vision sacred. Don't dilute it by sharing it with people who don't understand it. Don't expose it to opinions that can shake your belief. Hold it close. Guard it like it's the most valuable thing you own. Because it is. Your vision is your future, and your future is too important to be put up for public discussion. You don't owe the world an explanation. You owe yourself execution. Let your actions show them what your mouth never said. Let your focus become your signature. Let your progress be your voice. Because once you've built something real, no one can question it. They may not understand your journey, but they'll respect your outcome. That's the power of results. They shut down doubt. They silence critics. They eliminate the need for words. Everyone wants to be heard, but not everyone is willing to do what it takes to be respected. Respect doesn't come from talking. It comes from doing, from showing up on the hard days, from grinding when no one's watching, from staying committed when motivation disappears. That's what separates winners from talkers. Winners don't speak first. They work first. And when it's time to speak, their results speak for them. There's a deep strength and restraint in holding back your announcements and using that energy to level up your reality. Most people want the reward without the journey. They want the praise without the price. But success doesn't work like that. Success requires silence. It requires patience. It demands you go all in without needing to be seen doing it. It's not about how many people know what you're building. It's about how well you build it. If you want to live differently, you have to operate differently. That means saying no to short-term attention and yes to long-term fulfillment. It means choosing to be misunderstood for now so that you can be undeniable later. It means going to war with your own weaknesses instead of broadcasting fake strength. Because the truth is, your vision will never come to life through talk. It will come to life through trials, through setbacks, through the days when you question everything, but still show up. Every minute you spend talking about your dream is a minute you could have spent building it. Every time you explain it to someone who doesn't get it, you weaken your fire. You open yourself to judgment, doubt, and distraction. But when you keep your mouth closed and your head down, your intensity sharpens. Your focus becomes dangerous. Your energy stops leaking and starts building. That's when momentum takes over. That's when you become unstoppable. Think about the people you admire. The ones who built something from nothing. The ones who didn't just dream. They did. You didn't hear them talk about their goals before they had results. You heard about their results. You heard about their results. And then you learned what they had been working on all along. That's the blueprint. That's how you move if you want to separate yourself. There is power in patience. There is power in silence. There is power in letting the work speak. Because when you finally step into the spotlight, you're not just a person with an idea. You're a person with evidence. And evidence changes everything. People stop doubting. They stop questioning. They start paying attention. And not because you asked them to, but because you made them. You have a choice. You can spend your time trying to convince others that your dream is real, or you can put your head down and make it real. One leads to noise. The other leads to legacy. One leads to attention. The other leads to impact. Choose the second one. Choose the long game. Choose the invisible grind that creates visible greatness. Your goals don't need an audience. They need discipline. They need sweat. They need sacrifice. And they need consistency. Results don't come from talking about what you want. They come from putting yourself in uncomfortable positions and learning how to win there. They come from failing forward, adjusting your approach, and refusing to quit until the mission is complete. When you hold your vision close, you protect it from the energy of doubt. You give it room to breathe and grow. You give yourself time to become the person who can carry it. That's what this is really about. Not just achieving something, but becoming someone. Someone who doesn't need to be seen to be serious. Someone who doesn't need to be heard to be powerful. Someone who is so locked in on what matters that the noise of the world fades into the background. You don't get stronger by telling people how strong you are. You get stronger by lifting more, by showing up when it's inconvenient, by building a track record that speaks louder than any caption ever could. Because eventually people stop listening to words. They start looking at results. And when you've put in the work, your results will say everything that needs to be said. The most powerful moment is when people realize they underestimated you. When they thought you were quiet because you had nothing to offer, and then they see what silence really built. That's not revenge. That's reality. And that reality only happens when you stop needing to be seen and start needing to be great. Let the doubters talk. Let the crowd sleep. You've got a mission. And missions aren't meant to be discussed. They're meant to be completed. So build in silence. Show up with proof. And when the time is right, let the world see what happens when someone stops speaking and starts achieving. The hunger to be understood can be a trap. Don't fall for it. Stay grounded in the work. Stay obsessed with the process. And let your results be your voice, your message, and your legacy. This is your moment to choose growth over ego. To build a vision so powerful that when it's finally revealed, no words are needed. And when that day comes, when your work speaks volumes, the world will finally understand why you were so quiet all along. And that moment will be worth every second of silence, every lonely day, every unseen effort, because it will be undeniable. And that's the only kind of success worth chasing. Now lock in, get serious, stop talking, and go become everything you've been dreaming about, without saying a word. When it's ready, the world will see. But until then, you owe it to yourself to stay focused and let your results speak louder than anything you ever could. Number 6, train daily without explaining your every next move. Let your results make the noise, because the world listens differently when proof walks into the room. We live in a time where everyone's talking. Everyone has a vision. Everyone has a dream. But very few have the discipline to keep quiet until that dream becomes undeniable. The loudest voices are often the most empty. The people constantly talking about what they're about to do are usually the same ones who never follow through. That's why you must take a different path. A path built not on hype, but on hard work. A path where results speak so loudly that you don't even need to open your mouth. You don't need to announce your vision. You need to prove it. You need to build it when no one's watching. You need to rise early and stay late and sacrifice comfort so that what you're building becomes too real to ignore. Don't chase recognition before you've earned it. Don't look for applause before there's anything to clap for. Because when you speak too early, your words become promises you're not ready to fulfill. But when you move in silence, every step forward is backed by action. Every win is the result of something deeper. A commitment no one saw, a discipline no one clapped for. If you want to build something meaningful, keep your vision sacred. Don't dilute it by sharing it with people who don't understand it. Don't expose it to opinions that can shake your belief. Hold it close. Guard it like it's the most valuable thing you own, because it is. Your vision is your future, and your future is too important to be put up for public discussion. You don't owe the world an explanation. You owe yourself execution. Let your actions show them what your mouth never said. Let your focus become your signature. Let your progress be your voice. Because once you've built something real, no one can question it. They may not understand your journey, but they'll respect your outcome. That's the power of results. They shut down doubt. They silence critics. They eliminate the need for words. Everyone wants to be heard, but not everyone is willing to do what it takes to be respected. Respect doesn't come from talking. It comes from doing. From showing up on the hard days. From grinding when no one's watching. From staying committed when motivation disappears. That's what separates winners from talkers. Winners don't speak first. They work first. And when it's time to speak, their results speak for them. There's a deep strength in restraint, in holding back your announcements, and using that energy to level up your reality. Most people want the reward without the journey. They want the praise without the price. But success doesn't work like that. Success requires silence. It requires patience. It demands you go all in without needing to be seen doing it. It's not about how many people know what you're building. It's about how well you build it. If you want to live differently, you have to operate differently. That means saying no to short-term attention and yes to long-term fulfillment. It means choosing to be misunderstood for now so that you can be undeniable later. It means going to war with your own weaknesses instead of broadcasting fake strength. Because the truth is, your vision will never come to life through talk. It will come to life through trials, through setbacks, through the days when you question everything, but still show up. Every minute you spend talking about your dream is a minute you could have spent building it. Every time you explain it to someone who doesn't get it, you weaken your fire. You open yourself to judgment, doubt, and distraction. But when you keep your mouth closed and your head down, your intensity sharpens. Your focus becomes dangerous. Your energy stops leaking and starts building. That's when momentum takes over. That's when you become unstoppable. Think about the people you admire, the ones who built something from nothing, the ones who didn't just dream, they did. You didn't hear them talk about their goals before they had results. You heard about their results, and then you learned what they had been working on all along. That's the blueprint. That's how you move if you want to separate yourself. There's power in patience. There is power in silence. There is power in letting the work speak. Because when you finally step into the spotlight, you're not just a person with an idea. You're a person with evidence. And evidence changes everything. People stop doubting. They stop questioning. They start paying attention. And not because you asked them to, but because you made them. You have a choice. You can spend your time trying to convince others that your dream is real, or you can put your head down and make it real. One leads to noise. The other leads to legacy. One leads to attention. The other leads to impact. Choose the second one. Choose the long game. Choose the invisible grind that creates visible greatness. Your goals don't need an audience. They need discipline. They need sweat. They need sacrifice. And they need consistency. Results don't come from talking about what you want. They come from putting yourself in uncomfortable positions and learning how to win there. They come from failing forward, adjusting your approach, and refusing to quit until the mission is complete. When you hold your vision close, you protect it from the energy of doubt. You give it room to breathe and grow. You give yourself time to become the person who can carry it. That's what this is really about. Not just achieving something, but becoming someone. Someone who doesn't need to be seen to be serious. Someone who doesn't need to be heard to be powerful. Someone who is so locked in on what matters that the noise of the world fades into the background. You don't get stronger by telling people how strong you are. You get stronger by lifting more, by showing up when it's inconvenient, by building a track record that speaks louder than any caption ever could. Because eventually, people stop listening to words. They start looking at results. And when you've put in the work, your results will say everything that needs to be said. The most powerful moment is when people realize they underestimated you. When they thought you were quiet because you had nothing to offer. And then they see what silence really built. That's not revenge. That's reality. And that reality only happens when you stop needing to be seen and start needing to be great. Let the doubters talk. Let the crowd sleep. You've got a mission, and missions aren't meant to be discussed. They're meant to be completed. So build in silence. Show up with proof. And when the time is right, let the world see what happens when someone stops speaking and starts achieving. The hunger to be understood can be a trap. Don't fall for it. Stay grounded in the work. Stay obsessed with the process, and let your results be your voice, your message, and your legacy. This is your moment to choose growth over ego, to build a vision so powerful that when it's finally revealed, no words are needed. And when that day comes when your work speaks volumes, the world will finally understand why you were so quiet all along. And that moment will be worth every second of silence, every lonely day, every unseen effort, because it will be undeniable. And that's the only kind of success worth chasing. Now lock in, get serious, stop talking, and go become everything you've been dreaming about, without saying a word. When it's ready, the world will see. But until then, you owe it to yourself to stay focused and let your results speak louder than anything you ever could. Number 7, stay disciplined by not talking about your plans. No one needs to understand your grind, because your greatness isn't up for discussion. It's being built in silence. Every day you're handed 2 options: train or explain. Most choose to explain. They waste time justifying why they haven't started yet, why today wasn't ideal, why they're planning something big. But the few who rise, the ones who build something unshakable, they don't explain their next move. They just make it, quietly, consistently. While the world scrolls, talks, brags, and wastes time trying to look like they're winning, you're already doing the work that actually moves the needle. There's a different kind of power in a person who chooses discipline without needing an audience, who wakes up before dawn, not to film it, but because the fire inside won't let them sleep in. A person who doesn't share their routine, doesn't broadcast their grind, doesn't need anyone to clap, because they're not doing it for claps. They're doing it for change. You don't need to post about your workouts, your plans, your next business move, or your intentions. You need to do them. When you train daily without talking about it, you tap into something dangerous. You tap into the ability to build quietly, to sharpen your focus so deeply that distraction can't reach you. You no longer seek validation. You don't need opinions. You don't crave attention. You become addicted to improvement. You become obsessed with becoming. Most people talk to avoid doing. They think if they share their goals, it somehow brings them closer. But the truth is, words without action weaken your progress. They give a false sense of accomplishment. You feel good for announcing something, but you haven't done anything yet. That's a trap. And the longer you live in that illusion, the further you drift from actual results. But when you stop explaining and start executing, everything changes. There's a shift in how you think, how you move, how you show up. You begin to crave the repetition. You fall in love with the routine. You start stacking days with intention. Every rep, every page, Every small action becomes a vote for who you're becoming. And nobody needs to know about it. That's the beauty of it. That's what makes it powerful. The greatest transformations don't happen in front of crowds. They happen behind closed doors. They happen in silence, in sweat, in struggle, in the moments no one sees and no one ever will. That's where the magic lives. That's where character is formed. And the ones who commit to that process, with no need to narrate it, become unstoppable. You must understand something. Silence is a weapon. It protects your focus. It preserves your energy. It sharpens your edge. Because when you stop broadcasting your every move, you start building momentum that no one can touch. You're not giving people a chance to doubt you. You're not handing out roadmaps for others to copy or critique. You're just moving, quietly, purposefully, with intensity. And you'll notice something powerful starts to happen. You'll feel stronger, not just physically, but mentally, emotionally, spiritually, because you're finally doing what you said you would. And you're doing it for real, not for likes, not for attention, for growth, for mastery, for your future. That kind of training rewires your brain. It breaks through your excuses. It teaches you that progress has no finish line, only levels, and every level demands a deeper version of you. It's easy to fall into the trap of explaining why you're taking time off, why you're focused, why you're not available, why you didn't reply, why you haven't gone out. But you owe no explanations. You owe yourself a result. The world will catch up. Let them wonder what you're up to. Let them make assumptions. None of it matters. What matters is that you're putting in the reps, showing up when it's hard, honoring your commitment when no one's watching. That's where the wins are created. If you're serious about growth, then you have to let go of the need to prove your seriousness. The ones who really want it, they're not posting about it. They're in the gym. They're studying. They're working on their craft. They're locking in. Because results don't require announcements. They require action. Quiet, daily, disciplined action. The quiet path is the hardest, but it's also the most rewarding. There's no recognition, no external push, just you in the mirror, you and your goals, you and your demons. That silence forces you to face the truth. It exposes your weaknesses. It humbles your ego, but it also builds strength. It hardens your resolve. It forces you to grow from the inside out. Don't underestimate the power of consistency in private. That's where self-respect is built. Every day you show up when you could have quit. You're telling yourself, I matter, my goals matter, my future matters. And that repetition, day in and day out, becomes your edge. It becomes your advantage in a world full of people who want shortcuts, praise, and attention before they've earned it. Real training, the kind that changes you, requires silence. Not because your voice doesn't matter, but because your actions need room to breathe. They need room to grow. When you explain yourself, you shrink your progress to the size of someone else's understanding. But when you train without needing to be understood, you expand into your full potential. You're no longer limited by opinions. You're no longer influenced by trends. You move with clarity, not commentary. The truth is, most people aren't ready to understand your mission anyway. They won't see your vision until it's finished. And that's fine. That's how it's supposed to be. You don't need them to see it now. You just need to keep building, brick by brick, day by day, quietly, ruthlessly, until one day you walk into a room and your presence says everything. You have to get addicted to the grind when no one's checking in. You have to learn how to keep going when no one's watching. That's when your discipline is forged. That's when you cross the line from dreaming to becoming. And the only thing that separates the dreamers from the doers is consistency without explanation. People ask, what are you working on? Let them ask. Smile. Say nothing. Let them guess. Let them wonder. Because the more time you spend talking, the less time you have for doing. And the ones who are actually building, they don't have time to explain. They're too busy winning silently. And when your results show up, when your body changes, your mindset evolves, your life levels up, you won't need to say anything. People will feel it. They'll see the discipline in your posture. They'll hear it in your tone. They'll sense it in how you carry yourself. You won't be the same, and you won't need to tell anyone. Your actions will speak louder than your old life ever could. So stop needing permission. Stop waiting for support. Stop looking for validation. Lock in. Show up. Keep training. Do it every single day, whether you feel like it or not. And keep your mouth closed while you do it. Because silence isn't weakness. It's focus. It's power. It's the energy that builds empires when no one's paying attention. This is your time to separate yourself, to prove, not to others, but to yourself, that you can stay committed without recognition, that you can level up without announcements, that you can become so disciplined that the old version of you wouldn't even recognize who you are now. But it won't happen if you're busy explaining every step. Let your next move be unseen. Let your progress be unspoken. Let your training be relentless and your transformation be undeniable. Because that's the path of the uncommon. That's the path of someone who isn't trying to impress. They're trying to improve. And when it's all said and done, when the world finally sees who you've become, they'll ask how you did it. You won't need a speech. You'll just smile. Because they'll already know you train daily without ever saying a word. Now it's your turn. Shut out the noise. Lock in on the mission. And let your transformation do all the talking. Number 8. Earn respect through actions, not through announcements. Respect is never given to those who only talk. It is earned by those whose actions shout louder than any words ever could. In a world filled with noise, where everyone is busy broadcasting their achievements and announcing their ambitions, few understand the true power of silence paired with results. You might notice people constantly sharing their plans, their wins, their progress on social media, hoping for applause, hoping to prove something to the world. But here's the harsh truth. Respect does not come from announcements. It comes from the weight of your deeds, the consistency of your efforts, and the undeniable proof of your character. Imagine a man who spends his life telling everyone how successful he is. He talks about his goals, his vision, his future empire. But when you look closer, you see little progress, little foundation, just talk. Now imagine another person who doesn't say a word about their ambitions. They wake early, they grind hard, they fail, they rise, they repeat. Their life speaks for itself. Their results echo louder than any boast. People watch, and slowly, respect builds. It's not about noise, it's about substance. The problem with our culture today is the obsession with validation. We want recognition before we've earned it. We want praise before we've put in the work. But respect isn't a trophy you get just by claiming it. It's a mountain you climb step by step, and every step leaves a mark that others notice. When you focus on announcements, you waste energy trying to convince people instead of convincing yourself. You dilute your power by scattering your energy into words instead of focusing it into action. Respect is silent. It doesn't need to scream for attention because its presence is felt. It's the quiet confidence that comes from knowing you're building something real, something lasting. People respect the person who shows up when it's hard, who keeps promises to themselves, who takes responsibility without excuses. They respect the one who acts with integrity, even when no one is watching. This kind of respect is not given lightly. It is earned through unshakable consistency. You've probably met people who talk a big game but crumble under pressure. Their announcements are grand, but their follow-through is weak. Respect is not about what you say you will do. It's about what you actually do when the spotlight isn't on you. It's about doing the work day after day, especially when it's tough, when motivation fades, when distractions scream for your attention. This silent commitment is a language everyone understands. It transcends words because it's visible in your results. Look at those you truly admire. Do they shout their achievements, or do they let their lives tell the story? The difference between admiration and respect is real. Admiration can come from surface-level noise, flashy words, social media posts, charismatic speeches. But respect demands proof, sacrifice, and real effort. It's a deeper connection that can't be faked or bought. It's built on the foundation of relentless action, unyielding discipline, and undeniable growth. When you stop chasing the approval of others and start chasing excellence, everything changes. You stop asking for respect, and it starts coming to you naturally. People notice when you don't need to convince anyone. They feel it in the way you carry yourself, in the calm certainty of your work ethic, in the results that speak louder than any claim. This is how you become someone who commands respect without uttering a single boast. Respect earned through actions has another powerful effect. It breeds self-respect. When you know you've put in the work, that you've faced your fears, and conquered your challenges without seeking applause, you develop an inner confidence that no one can take away. You start living for your own standards, not for the opinions of the crowd. This freedom is transformative. It lets you focus fully on your goals, on your mission, on your growth, without distraction. This journey requires patience. It demands humility. It forces you to get comfortable with being misunderstood, overlooked, and sometimes even doubted. But that discomfort is the price of greatness. When you resist the urge to explain yourself, to announce your moves, to seek instant validation, you preserve your energy. You redirect it into what really matters, becoming the person who doesn't need to prove anything to anyone, because their life is the proof. There will be times when the temptation to announce, to brag, to explain your vision will feel overwhelming. In those moments, remember this: true respect is like a shadow. It follows your actions, not your words. It grows stronger when you focus on the work, when you face adversity silently, when you let your dedication be louder than your doubts. This is the path of the disciplined, the focused, the truly successful. Ask yourself, are you building a life that deserves respect, or are you building a persona that craves attention? The difference is subtle but crucial. One leads to lasting impact. The other leads to fleeting applause. Real respect doesn't fade when the crowd disperses. It stands tall through every trial, every setback, every challenge. It is the armor that protects you from the noise of the world, the anchor that keeps you grounded in your purpose. To earn respect, you must embrace the grind. When no one is watching, you must push past the urge to share every detail, every step, every small win. Instead, focus on making those wins undeniable through your results. Commit to a daily practice of showing up, working hard, and improving. Not for the likes, not for the comments, but for the quiet satisfaction of knowing you're becoming better than yesterday. When you let your actions do the talking, you create an aura of authenticity that is magnetic. People gravitate toward those who live their truth through action. They trust the ones who don't need to explain, who don't seek validation, who simply do what's necessary with unwavering dedication. This authenticity builds relationships, opens doors, and creates opportunities that words alone never could. Remember, respect is not a transaction. It's a byproduct. It flows naturally when you cultivate discipline, integrity, and excellence. It's impossible to fake. The moment you try to manufacture respect through words alone, you reveal insecurity and a lack of true commitment. The confident person doesn't need to sell their worth. They embody it. Your challenge is to become that person, the one who earns respect quietly, relentlessly, and without hesitation. The one whose results inspire without a single announcement. The one whose presence commands attention because it's rooted in real effort and real growth. The one who understands that respect is a reward for the journey, not a starting point. This is your call to action. Shift your focus from talking about your vision to executing it with fierce determination. Stop announcing what you're going to do and start proving what you can do. Build a track record of success that leaves no room for doubt. Let your consistency and results become your loudest voice. When you do this, respect will no longer be something you chase. It will become a natural part of who you are. It's time to embrace the power of silent work, to stop explaining and start accomplishing, to earn respect through action, not announcements. When you commit to this path, you transform not just your image, but your entire life. The respect you gain will be real, deep, and lasting, because it comes from a place that no words can ever reach. Now go and show the world what you're really made of, not with noise, but with undeniable action. Number 9, improve quietly and let success speak when ready. The loudest victories are often the ones whispered quietly in the shadows of relentless effort before they explode into undeniable success. It's easy to get caught up in the need to be seen, to be heard, to broadcast every step forward. But what if the real power lies not in announcing your progress, but in refining yourself in silence until your breakthrough is too big to ignore? This is a truth almost nobody understands in a world addicted to instant validation and flashy displays. The most extraordinary transformations happen behind closed doors, away from the spotlight, in the quiet moments where no one's watching but you. Think about the people who truly changed the world. They didn't start by making noise. Instead, they started by mastering their craft, grinding daily, often in obscurity. Their improvement was quiet, methodical, and relentless. They absorbed criticism without complaint, embraced failure as a teacher, and built their skills in solitude. Their success wasn't a sudden fluke or a publicity stunt. It was the natural result of patient, focused evolution. When the time came, their accomplishments roared, not because they shouted first, but because their actions could no longer be ignored. You might feel the urge to announce your journey, to share every milestone as proof you're moving forward. But what if every premature declaration actually dilutes your power? Every time you shout about your progress before it's real, you risk exposing your vulnerabilities and inviting doubt. Instead, what if you held your improvement like a secret weapon, unveiling it only when it's fully loaded and ready to fire? This strategic silence preserves your energy, shields you from unnecessary judgment, and keeps your focus razor sharp. This idea is not about hiding or avoiding recognition. It's about cultivating patience and discipline in a culture that prizes instant gratification. Improvement is rarely glamorous. It's built on small, invisible choices that compound into extraordinary results over time. You wake up early, practice in private, study when others are distracted, and push through discomfort, even when no one is watching. You build strength where it matters most, inside your mind, your habits, your character. Every quiet step you take in improving yourself adds weight to your future success. Like a seed planted deep underground, your efforts grow unseen for a while. But beneath the surface, roots strengthen, shoots prepare to burst through the soil. When success finally appears, it does so with undeniable force, undeniable presence. It's not just a moment, it's the culmination of everything you invested without fanfare. Imagine the power of letting your achievements speak for themselves. No need for justification, no need for explanation. The world begins to recognize your progress naturally. Doors open not because you announced your arrival, but because your work made you impossible to overlook. This kind of success commands respect and admiration because it's authentic, earned, and deeply grounded in effort. One of the hardest lessons in growth is learning to be comfortable with silence. Silence about your journey, your struggles, your goals. It's tempting to seek external validation to feed motivation, but true strength comes from internal validation. When you improve quietly, you train your mind to rely on your own standards rather than applause. This builds resilience and a mindset that doesn't waver with external opinions. You become steady, unshakable, confident in your path. This quiet improvement is also a powerful form of self-protection. When you keep your progress close to your chest, you limit the distractions and pressures that come with public scrutiny. You avoid the trap of performing for others instead of performing for yourself. This freedom allows you to experiment, to fail, to learn without fear. It's in this space that true innovation and growth thrive. There's a profound psychological advantage in this approach. When you don't rush to reveal your progress, you build anticipation and curiosity around your eventual success. People wonder, they watch, they wait. And when you finally reveal your achievements, the impact is multiplied. Success that emerges from silence carries an energy that excitement alone cannot generate. It's a force that inspires, challenges, and moves others. Consider the times you have admired someone's success. Was it the loud proclamations that impressed you or the undeniable evidence of skill and perseverance that you witnessed? Often it's the quiet confidence and unexpected breakthroughs that resonate most deeply. When improvement is quiet, success is dramatic. When improvement is loud, success often feels like just more noise. To embrace this philosophy, you must commit to a daily practice of humility and patience. Recognize that your path is unique and that progress rarely looks like a straight line. There will be days when your efforts feel invisible and your growth seems stagnant. Those are the moments when silent improvement matters most. Stay focused on your craft, your goals, and your self-discipline. Trust that every small effort compounds in ways you cannot yet see. Let go of the need to share every detail, every step, every tiny victory. Celebrate internally and use that celebration as fuel to keep moving forward. Channel your energy into action, not announcements. Keep your eyes on the long game. Your quiet dedication will become a fortress against doubt, distraction, and negativity. Remember that success is not a public performance. It's a personal journey. It's about evolving into the best version of yourself before the world gets to see it. It's about building something so solid, so undeniable, that when you finally reveal it, it leaves no room for question or critique. Your silence is your strategy. Your success will be your statement. The world is full of noisemakers, but it craves authenticity. It honors the person who works silently and shows results. It respects the individual who masters patience and understands that true growth is a marathon, not a sprint. By improving quietly, you align yourself with a timeless principle that transcends trends, platforms, and distractions. This path demands courage. It demands faith in the unseen progress and belief in your own potential. It asks you to resist the temptation to validate your worth through others' eyes. But the payoff is immense. A life where your success is not a claim but a fact, not a promise but a reality. You are more powerful than the need for approval. You are stronger than the urge to explain. You are capable of quiet transformation that will shock the world when it's ready. Embrace this process. Honor your journey with silence and let the results break the silence with undeniable force. Your next step is to commit right now. Stop sharing your progress prematurely. Focus instead on improving, learning, and growing away from the spotlight. Build your foundation quietly. When your moment arrives, your success will speak so loudly that it will drown out every doubt, every criticism, every question. The power of quiet improvement is waiting for you. Seize it, live it. Let your success be the voice that changes everything. Now go and grow in silence, because the world is about to hear your roar. Number 10. Keep growing without posting your progress online. If you're waiting for likes, comments, or shares to prove you're growing, you've already lost the most important battle, the battle within yourself. In today's world, the urge to broadcast every step of progress online is almost unavoidable. It's tempting to share our workouts, our learning moments, even the small wins, seeking validation from an audience that might never truly understand the struggle behind those moments. But what if this constant sharing is actually slowing down your growth instead of accelerating it? What if the greatest breakthroughs come not when everyone's watching, but when you quietly push forward, fueled by a hunger that no one else sees or applauds? There's a subtle power in keeping your growth offline, in allowing your progress to unfold away from the distractions and noise of social media. When you stop posting every detail of your journey, you reclaim your energy and focus for the work itself. Your attention shifts from crafting a perfect image to deepening your skills, strengthening your mindset, and building habits that last. Think about this: every post, every story, every status update about your progress invites judgment, comparison, and distraction. You open a door to opinions, some helpful, many not, that can derail your momentum. Instead of being driven by your own standards, you become influenced by external reactions. The purest form of growth comes when you do it for yourself, not for applause. There's a difference between motivation and validation. Motivation is internal. It's a fire that burns quietly inside you, pushing you to rise every day and put in the work. Validation, on the other hand, is external, a fleeting satisfaction that depends on others' approval. When you post your progress, you risk blurring that line, trading long-term transformation for short-term praise. Some of the strongest, most resilient people you admire have learned this truth well. They don't need to broadcast their every effort. They don't need to explain or justify. Their growth is a private transaction between them and their goals. This internal focus protects them from the volatility of social media and keeps their eyes on the prize. You might wonder, but how will I know I'm progressing if I don't share it? The answer is simple. You measure growth through consistency, discipline, and the tangible results you experience. The satisfaction of personal milestones, breaking a record, mastering a skill, developing a new habit, is deeply internal. When you learn to appreciate these without seeking external validation, your growth becomes unshakable. There's an even deeper benefit. Keeping your progress offline builds resilience against the noise of comparison. When you scroll through feeds, it's easy to feel like you're behind or not enough. But when your journey is your own secret, you escape this trap. You focus only on your path, your pace, and your standards. This mental clarity is a superpower in a world obsessed with surface-level success. The habit of sharing everything can also create an unconscious addiction to approval, leading to distraction and burnout. Posting takes time and energy that could be invested in deeper practice, reflection, and rest. You lose the chance to cultivate patience and long-term vision, instead chasing immediate gratification through likes and comments. Imagine how different your life would feel if you stopped broadcasting your progress and started living it fully. Your goals would be powered by discipline, not display. Your efforts would be genuine, not performed. Your growth would be steady and sustainable, built on a foundation of deep commitment. You might be thinking about the fear of missing out, the pressure to keep up with others who share their wins online. But true strength is not in competition with others. It's in mastering yourself. When you focus inward, you build confidence that no number of likes can match. This inner assurance carries you through challenges and keeps you moving forward, even when the spotlight is off. This approach requires courage. It means resisting the urge to seek instant recognition and learning to trust the invisible work you do every day. You must cultivate a mindset that values progress over popularity, substance over showmanship, and authenticity over approval. Let your transformation be something sacred, something you protect fiercely. Treat your growth like a seed planted in fertile soil, away from harsh eyes. Nurture it quietly with your actions and intentions. When the right time comes, your results will speak loudly and clearly, needing no explanation or amplification. There is freedom in this silence. Freedom from judgment, from comparison, from the need to justify. Freedom to make mistakes, to experiment, and to evolve without pressure. Freedom to be fully present in the process, to embrace every challenge and triumph as your own. The people who make the biggest impact in the world understand this better than anyone. They don't perform for an audience. They work when no one is watching. They grow without announcing it, and then they let their success become the undeniable proof of their dedication. If you want lasting change, start by shutting out the noise. Stop posting your progress online. Focus instead on doing the work. Measure your success by your commitment, your resilience, your improvements. Track your journey internally, not on a public feed. By growing quietly, you develop a powerful mindset that thrives on self-mastery. You build a fortress of discipline that no distraction can penetrate. You become unstoppable, fueled by a motivation that is deeply personal and unbreakable. Now is the moment to choose growth over gratification. Choose substance over surface. Choose the quiet path that leads to undeniable transformation. Keep your progress offline and let your life become the proof that words alone can never provide. Commit to this journey today. Stop sharing your progress and start living it fully. Your future self will thank you for the strength, the patience, and the resilience you build in silence. Your success will one day shine so brightly that it leaves no doubt, because it will come from work done when no one was watching. Grow quietly, grow deeply, grow relentlessly, and when your success finally emerges, it will be impossible to ignore.